It's that time again where we take a look at the offerings for PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Games with Gold and compare which service is giving you the better games. We're gonna be going over the month of January and both services have some pretty good offerings, so let's get right into this. First off, we'll start with the PlayStation Plus titles, and this is arguably the best month for PlayStation Plus subscribers in years. I don't think that's hyperbole in saying that, but let's just get right into the games. First up, it's always nice to see a AAA offering on PlayStation Plus, and that's what you're getting with Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Deus Ex Mankind Divided is the sequel to Deus Ex Human Revolution, and it is a very good follow-up, although it does falter in some areas, namely the storytelling, and the game overall ends kind of abruptly. However, from a gameplay standpoint, Mankind Divided is definitely a step in the right direction. It adds a lot more versatility in the gameplay, and content-wise, there's still a decent amount to do. It's just that sometimes the content is a bit uninspiring, but overall the game is very good, and it's sitting at an 84 on Metacritic.
Exponentially. Right along with the increasing threat level. Being stationed in Prague places me at the epicenter of terrorist activity. And with blame for the latest atrocity being leveled at an augmented group there, the only certainty is that the body count will keep rising.
Our territory is fiercely defended. No one sets foot in there.
Next up, we have Batman: The Telltale series. Telltale has put out a lot of great games: The Walking Dead, The Wolf Among Us. I can go on, and one of their most recent releases was Batman: The Telltale series. We actually saw a second season for the game in Batman: The Enemy Within, but PlayStation Plus subscribers will be getting the first season, Batman: The Telltale series. This is your typical Telltale experience, and it is pretty good with the Batman flavor over it. There are some technical issues, however, presentation-wise, it is very well done, and it is a great entry in the Batman license and a far cry from what Batman Arkham brought to the table, so it's a very different experience. It's sitting at a 68 on Metacritic right now, but honestly, I would say that's a little bit underrated.
Vote for Harvey Dent is a vote to finally put your foot down.
Vicky Vale, reporter for the Gotham Gazette. Is the Dent campaign soliciting votes from Gotham's biggest crime family?
Money gets money. I can get Harvey the mayor's seat, or I can pull it out from under him.
Your father despised men like Falcone. No one has ever managed to bring him down.
I haven't tried yet.
Psychopaths Mandatory Happiness. Psychopaths Mandatory Happiness is probably a game a lot of you guys don't know about. It's a visual novel style game, which is a genre that's been making more and more waves over here in the States. It's still not a gigantic genre, but with games such as Danganronpa and Zero Escape, the genre has been gaining more traction, and Psychopaths Mandatory Happiness is based on the popular anime Psychopaths. If you haven't watched Psychopaths, that is a terrific anime, and this is a game that is going to cater to more ardent fans. It's more Psychopaths, and if you don't know what the story is, the story of Psychopaths is very interesting. It's set in a dystopian future Tokyo where people can be preemptively imprisoned based on a personality scan called a psychopath. It's a very interesting take on a cyberpunk setting and how the future could evolve if technology takes over. A very interesting story. And while Psychopaths Mandatory Happiness is going to be light on the gameplay, it is going to offer a world and lore to get really invested into. The game's got a 72 on Metacritic. And finally, we have Uncanny Valley, which is the one smaller title for PlayStation Plus subscribers. It's an unsettling, story-driven survival horror where nothing is as it seems. You explore an isolated facility and solve its many mysteries, but the choices you make have meaningful consequences that will determine your fate. You'll have to play through the game multiple times to reveal all of Uncanny Valley's darkest secrets. This is a lower key title that a lot of gamers are just going to completely pass up on. It's got a 52 on Metacritic.
Even Tom could die, or suffer a fate even worse than death. We call this the consequence system. Uncanny Valley's main location is the high-tech Melior facility and the surrounding areas. The player can explore the facility freely during his shift, which lasts 7 minutes. After that, the player must return to his bed and sleep, or
So those are the PlayStation Plus titles. Let's get right into the Xbox Live Games with Gold offerings. First, we have Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 3. Other Adventures of Van Helsing titles have been offered for Gold subscribers before, but this is the latest game in the franchise and the conclusion to the Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing trilogy. It's a lot more of the same from previous entries, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You've got solid action RPG gameplay, a great setting, and solid visuals to cap it off. Is Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing anything amazing? No, but it does act as a competent enough RPG. It's got a 64 on Metacritic.
Protector is the perfect opposite of the Elementalist. With his heavy armor and unique shield slot, the Protector is a close-range specialist, dealing physical damage and providing bonuses for his companions. Quite understandably, these two classes use very different tactics in combat. The Protector needs to get close to his enemies first. In order to do so, he can use Smite to charge right into the middle of the battle. If there are enemies in his way, he will simply break.
Zombie. Zombie is a very interesting game in that it was actually a Wii U exclusive title when it released, and then Ubisoft decided to bring the game over to Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and what it is a somewhat frustrating and challenging survival horror game that does create a very solid atmosphere. If you're a fan of survival horror games, there's a lot of charm to Zombie, but don't expect anything stellar, especially with recent great survival horror titles such as Resident Evil 7 and The Evil Within 2. Zombie definitely doesn't hit that tier of excellence, but it is a solid game nonetheless. It's got a 71 on Metacritic.
Till someone, hopefully, figures out a way to fix this.
I'm researching a cure for this terrible infection.
I can help you with that. But I'm afraid it's not gonna be easy. Now I've got some bad news for you. I'm afraid you're going to die. And when your character's dead, it's good. But on the bright side, there's always another survivor lurking about. So you simply switch to them. And your first task is to kill the last person.
As always with Games with Gold, you get 2 Xbox 360 titles on top of those. First up, you'll be getting Tomb Raider Underworld, which was a Tomb Raider game set around the old Lara before the reboot. And while it is a very good game, while going back and playing Tomb Raider Underworld, it just does not hold up compared to the newer Tomb Raider games, Rise of the Tomb Raider and the Tomb Raider reboot from 2013. These games still offer some fun, but they've aged quite a bit, and while the game does have a solid 76 on Metacritic, at this point in time in 2017, I would probably bump that score down a little bit lower.
I need Thor's belt to get his hammer, and I need the hammer to kill a god. Drop it, Zip, or I'll drop you.
And the other Xbox 360 title you'll be receiving is Army of Two. Army of Two is an awesome third-person shooter that really shines when you play the game cooperatively. It's called Army of Two for a reason. You want to play this game with a friend, go through the single-player campaign that way. And while the game doesn't absolutely refine third-person shooters mechanically, what it does offer is a lot of fun. Army of Two is a game that is a blast to play, and even through its imperfections, it's a game that's very easy to enjoy, especially, as I mentioned, if you are playing with a friend. Army of Two has a 72 on Metacritic, but being biased a little bit, I would rate it a little bit higher. So those are the Games with Gold offerings for Xbox One. Now, which service has the better offerings in January? Well, PlayStation Plus has got their AAA game in Deus Ex Mankind Divided. They've got a Telltale game in Batman the Telltale series, which is very nice. Psychopaths Mandatory Happiness, many of you guys might sleep on that, but that is a game I would highly recommend to check out. And then Uncanny Valley isn't anything to write home about, but it is another game. On Xbox One with Games with Gold, while you do have some solid offerings, none of these games really stand out. You don't have a big budget current generation AAA game, and while the Xbox 360 titles are nice, the PlayStation Plus games for January are just really good, and this is a month where we have to give the win to PlayStation Plus. They've got variety and quality in their offerings, and this is a really solid month for PlayStation Plus, a great way to start off the new year for the service. Hopefully Sony can keep the momentum rolling into the later months of the year, but we do also have to mention that Games with Gold is pretty good in January. Van Helsing, Zombie, and the 2 Xbox 360 titles accumulate to a couple of pretty good games for Xbox gamers. But overall, this month, we've got to give the win to PlayStation Plus. So that's gonna wrap up January's edition of PlayStation Plus versus Xbox Live Games with Gold. What do you think? Which service do you think has the better offerings for January? Let us know in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.